On the fateful night of Monday, September 10, 2007, the destinies of 3 Green Berets commanders, Captain Matthew Chaney, Staff Sergeant Jarian Halbasen Gibbs, and Sergeant First Class Michael Lindsay, took an unexpected turn during a high-stakes mission to capture a Taliban leader in Samarra, Iraq. The clock was ticking, and it was approximately 2 a.m. when chaos erupted in a small compound in Samarra. More than 24 enemy insurgents unleashed a barrage of heavy fire upon the Green Berets, thrusting them into a life-or-death struggle. In the midst of the intense firefight, Captain Chaney bore the brunt of a gunshot that pierced through his pelvis and hip.
Zulu is down. He is urgent.
Simultaneously, Sergeant Lindsay faced a perilous fate as a bullet found its mark in his throat.
What the hell is going on?
They're in the courtyard!
A resulting blast flung both Chaney and Lindsay out of the doorway and into the courtyard. Meanwhile, Staff Sergeant Gibbs, knocked off his feet by the explosion, found himself alone inside the target building with the enemy insurgents.
2296.
Someone got shot.
55515. We have 1 commando wounded.
Lindsay, now grappling with the aftermath of the blast, was hyperventilating and struggling to move. Undeterred, he rolled himself over and, with sheer determination, reached for his pistol, firing rounds toward the encroaching insurgents. Close by, Captain Chaney lay flat on his back, paralyzed from the waist down. In a desperate attempt to shield himself, Chaney dragged the lifeless body of an enemy fighter close to him. In this dire moment, the 3 elite Green Berets, battered and demoralized, were faced with a harrowing choice: surrender to the enemy insurgents or summon the courage for one final monumental push. Yet, amidst the chaos and peril, one question lingered: how did this relentless deluge of gunpowder and bloodshed begin? What event set the stage for the life-altering clash in the small compound of Samarra, Iraq? On September 10, 2007, Captain Chaney served as the detachment commander for Special Forces Operational Detachment 083 of the 10th Special Forces Group, commonly known as the Green Berets, during Operation Iraqi Freedom. He had been in the country since May of that year, and since March, the team he took over had been conducting missions targeting high-value individuals associated with the Islamic State of Iraq. In most cases, the Green Berets' element of surprise was exceptionally good, catching most targets in bed. This elite Special Forces unit had conducted more than 50 such missions before the night of September 10th. On that night, Chaney, along with Staff Sergeant Jarian Halbasen Gibbs and Sergeant First Class Michael Lindsay, led nearly 24 U.S. Green Berets and Iraqi National Police on a dead-of-night raid of a rural farming complex on the outskirts of Samarra, Iraq, to apprehend Abu Obaideh, an ISI kingpin responsible for weapons smuggling, kidnapping, torture, and murder. The plan was to dismount behind a hill 500 meters from the target, establish support positions, and proceed on foot toward the farmhouse containing the target. However, standing water prevented their Black Hawk from landing at its primary site. Chaney, Jarian, Lindsay, and the Iraqi police were forced to dismount only 25 meters from the target house without the benefit of cover. To make matters worse, brownout conditions from their Black Hawk forced a second helicopter carrying the other half of the assault team to land a considerable distance away. Immediately, Chaney and his team came under fire from doorways and windows, facing an insurgent force that significantly outnumbered them. The Iraqi police, lacking night vision goggles, became disoriented and fled. Faced with no cover and too close for air support, Chaney, Jarian, and Lindsay's options were limited: either turn and run or rapidly close with the enemy. They chose the second option. At this point, no communication was needed. Speed and violence of action would be their security. They swiftly executed their maneuvers towards the primary target building, deftly engaging adversaries in their path. Jarian, exhibiting exceptional precision, strategically tossed a grenade into the building, unleashing a destructive force that swiftly neutralized multiple enemy fighters. As the team breached the doorway, the dimly lit room revealed faceless shapes hastily grabbing weapons in the dark. Within moments, the Green Berets found themselves in a fierce exchange of gunfire with insurgents wielding AK-47s. The intensity of the firefight heightened, and amidst the chaos, they successfully eliminated the high-value target. However, victory came at a cost. In the relentless crossfire, Chaney fell victim to a round that pierced through his pelvis and hip, causing immediate incapacitation. Lindsay, in a tragic turn of events, was struck in the throat by enemy fire. The harrowing scene unfolded further as an insurgent hurled a grenade into the midst of the assaulting soldiers. The explosion reverberated through the room, propelling both Chaney and Lindsay forcefully backward, ejected from the building and into the courtyard. Meanwhile, Jarian, resilient despite the blast, found himself knocked off his feet and onto his back, isolated inside the target building with the remaining enemy insurgents. Lindsay found himself in a state of hyperventilation, struggling to regain composure as he vomited, rendering him barely able to move. Despite the chaos and machine gun fire permeating the surroundings, Lindsay rolled over, mustering the strength to reach for his pistol. Firing rounds toward the insurgents, he fought to hold his ground. In a desperate move, Chaney dragged the lifeless body of an enemy fighter toward him, using it as a makeshift shield against the ongoing onslaught. Despite sustaining a gunshot wound to his hip, a broken tailbone, and a concussion from the earlier blast, Chaney defied the odds. With determination in his eyes, he managed to take down an insurgent who was firing at him from an open doorway in another building. Inside the building, Jarian found himself in a challenging situation after his night vision goggles were rendered useless by the grenade's fragmentation. Undeterred, he pressed on with his mission, navigating through the total darkness alone. In a swift and calculated move, he located and eliminated a primary enemy shooter, showcasing his adept combat skills. However, amidst the chaos, Jarian stumbled over the lifeless body of an enemy fighter. As he fell, a bullet pierced through his thumb. Despite the sudden setback, he swiftly regained his composure, engaging in close-quarters combat to eliminate another enemy insurgent. With the building cleared, Jarian retraced his steps to the courtyard, intending to provide cover for his wounded teammates. Approaching his injured comrades, Jarian encountered another wave of danger. A bullet tore through his abdomen, unleashing searing pain that coursed through his stomach. Simultaneously, he felt his hip pop out of place upon hitting the ground from the impact of his wounds. Yet, even in the midst of his agony, Jarian managed to retaliate, firing shots from his M4 that struck down the enemy fighter responsible, a mere 12 feet away. Meanwhile, Chaney, astutely observing Jarian's injuries, noted the severity of the situation. Recognizing the urgency, he deployed an IR chem light behind him, a signal meant for the team's medic who was making a sprint across a 500-meter plowed field, fully geared alongside the detachment from the 2nd Black Hawk. Despite the grave wounds, Jarian emerged from the target building, his stomach and left thumb grievously injured, standing alongside Chaney. Together, they resiliently engaged and eliminated more attackers. After 15 minutes of intense fighting, the compound was successfully secured. Chaney and his team were credited with eliminating 11 ISI fighters, including the high-value target. An estimated 18 fighters were present on the objective that night. Additionally, they rescued 2 Iraqi kidnap victims. All 3 Green Berets made a full recovery from their injuries and went on to deploy at least once more. In recognition of their gallantry and leadership in action against the enemy that night, Chaney and Lindsay were awarded the Silver Star and the Purple Heart for the wounds they received in combat. Jarian received the Distinguished Service Cross, the Army's 2nd highest award for valor. It's incredible to acknowledge the sacrifices these gallant American soldiers make to keep the world safe. They are unsung heroes, but in this channel, we'll sing their songs and inscribe their names in the sands of time. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any opportunities to appreciate the great sacrifices of our heroes. Thanks for watching this video.